What's up, everybody? Welcome to In Love with Horror. My name is AJ.
And I'm Christy.
And y'all, we're about to give you our non-spoiler review of Immaculate. So it's been a few hours since we got back from the theater, and we've had some time to kind of digest and mull it over. I'm sure she already put out a tweet, talking about us being divided on this. So this will be definitely an interesting non-spoiler review because you're gonna get two different perspectives on this movie. It made for a very interesting car ride home. But look, y'all, before we dive into this review, I just want to say, first off, that we hit 1,000 subscribers. So shout out to everyone who subscribed in the last few days. We did hit that milestone. Our next goal is going to be 2,000 subscribers. So if this is your first time tuning into the channel, or if you're just not subscribed yet, make sure you hit that subscribe button because we do. We talk about all things horror over here. We got the horror movie reviews. We talk about the news on live stream sometimes. We do video essay discussions on movies. And, of course, we do the horror trailer reactions. We talk about all things horror. We got a lot of great content coming up. So I appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button and stay tuned because I'm telling y'all, man, it's going to be awesome. And then it's just fun to talk about horror. With that done, let's jump into the review, y'all. Non-spoiler review for Immaculate. So off the top, Immaculate was directed by Michael Mohan. I'm not too familiar with his previous works. I saw the last film he did was The Voyeurs, which I don't think I had even heard of. So I have to go back and
I've
check
heard of
that
it, but
one
I
out.
just haven't watched it.
Oh, okay. So I wasn't familiar with it. I have to definitely check that one out to kind of see how that one is. Of course, the lead actress in this film is Sydney Sweeney. I feel like everyone's talking about her, and I wasn't familiar with her at all prior to this film. But you were saying that
she was in Euphoria.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, that makes sense because I never seen that show, so that's why I'm like I don't even know who she is, but she's our lead in this film, and pretty much the movie deals with her character Cecilia, who is about to take her vows to become a nun, and she was in the U.S. I can't quite recall where exactly she moved from in the U.S., but the parish she was at shut down because they had low attendance or whatever, and so now she got invited to come out to this convent that's out in the countryside and somewhere in Italy. She's invited out there, so we kind of meet her as she's arriving at this convent. She does her vows, and that's when things start to get a little weird. Like there's something off about this convent to a certain degree, and of course the title of this film, Immaculate. It deals with immaculate conception, and a bunch of weirdness starts to unfold. The mystery is there about, what's really going on. And she's trying to, we're going along the ride with her to figure out like what the fuck is happening to me and happening here at this convent. And that's pretty much the film. So with that, I'll go ahead and pass it over to you, babe. We already talked about it before we started recording, but how did you feel, or what are your thoughts on Immaculate?
All right, so I'll give a couple of things I did like about the film and things I didn't like.
Okay.
To make it simple, but overall, I did not like this movie.
Yep.
I'm in the camp of I don't want to see this again.
Yeah.
So what I did like, obviously, I really liked Sydney Sweeney's performance. Mm-hmm. I thought she reminded me of the wife from the movie Possession. Like there were some scenes in here where she kind of like went all the way there.
Yep.
And I think that her portrayal of Cecilia was pretty decent.
Yeah.
I would have, though, on the counter of that, felt like there was they were trying to give us some of her, backstory and trying to understand her. But I do still feel like I couldn't really like connect with her. Like it was kind of like a surface level character. Mm-hmm. But I still think that her portrayal of her was really good. I also really liked the way this movie looked. We talked about this a lot because it is a very beautiful movie.
The movie looks really good.
We said we needed to find out who the cinematographer is because they definitely need acknowledgement because they did an exceptional job. It does look like a 70s Italian horror movie.
Absolutely.
As I was watching it, I was thinking about like a Dario Argento. This is like something like he would have made in the 70s, I think. Like just like the scenes itself, like where they are, like the way the convent looks. Like even the convent itself kind of reminded me of the place in Suspiria, like
the little bit. Boarding.
Yeah,
place,
it does. It kind of looks
place,
like that a little bit.
Boarding dance place.
But anyways, yeah, it definitely fits that vibe and that time period, 100%. I mostly liked the story, like the plot. Like even after I was like, oh, I don't really like that. And then, AJ was like, what do you mean? Like he repeated it back to me. I was like, well,
yeah, explain the plot. Of
you
the movie.
telling me the plot was more interesting than me watching this movie. Like hearing you talk about it was way more interesting. Like, can I pay to watch you talk about it again?
Yeah.
Like to me, it was much better than actually watching the movie. I think that the first 80% of this movie is uninteresting to me. Like the ending, I think the idea of the ending is good, but I don't like one particular part of it. And you know exactly what I'm talking about. I was just like, oh, why?
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, to me, I needed that to feel like there was a payoff. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
So don't share me because you don't agree with what I'm saying.
Look, I don't agree, but yeah, I'm not going to interrupt though. Go ahead.
Anyways, it wasn't like there were some creepy moments, like because like the door creaking.
There's some tension, breathing, some really big tension moments.
There were some creepy moments in there. I guess I had an expectation of scariness, and that's not this at all. Like this wasn't a scary movie, and I guess maybe that's also kind of added into my disappointment with it because I wanted to be scared. Yeah, but yeah, that's not this. This movie is not that. It's not like your normal run of the mill, I guess, like religious horror movie at all. Like it's definitely a different take on a nun horror.
100% it's a different take.
And it just, this movie is not bad. Like I said this, like it's not a trash movie. Like this is not No Imaginary. This is not no Night Swim. It just wasn't something that I liked. Yep. The floor is yours.
Oh, okay. All right, cool. Well, I'm opposite to her, y'all, because I actually like this movie. Now, it didn't reach the levels of being great, but I did think it was decent. Like I did walk out being like, oh, yeah, that was actually decent. And for me, it's because of a few things. One of the things you did say, it has that 70s Italian horror type of vibe, the Suspiria vibe, even down to like you said, like the way it looks, the mood, the atmosphere, and the music, the way the music complemented a lot of the scenes and camera movement, with the direction, like it legit. I was like, damn, this shit feel like Suspiria, like legitly, like that's how I was feeling, which really, well, yeah, it's definitely not as good, but that helped like pull me in and really like grip me in. If a movie looks good and I like the concept, that's just going to pull me in even more. The performances I thought were all good. Obviously, Sydney Sweeney's kind of, carrying it a little bit. That's just because her character has a lot. It's focused on her. Yeah. Because everyone else is supposed to be kind of shrouded in mystery. So we spend a lot of time with her. So naturally, it's going to feel like she's carrying the movie because, she is, because she's, in the majority of all the scenes. But she did a great performance. She had great performances, like you mentioned, some very extreme moments, some like super like expressive moments. I'm talking about yelling, screaming, like it reminded me of like those moments, like you said, like Possession, like when she was having that weird tunnel scene with the possessed moment. Yeah. Even like some like Toni Collette moments from Hereditary where she like was
stretching it a bit.
I'm not trying to say that she was at her level. Okay. But I'm more talking about the moments of like, I would say like insanity and like, raw emotion. Like those moments were there. But overall, like I thought her performance was really good. And this movie is like a slow burn, right? And so the movie is very slow up to a certain point. And so you got to definitely be into slow burns. And I know for you felt like it was boring in those slow burn ones, but
I like slow burns when they're done right. I feel like this one was not done right.
I actually disagree though, because I felt like they were giving you like a slow burn gives you like some crumbs, right? Some shit to nibble on.
They like, gave us crumbs the entire movie until the end, and then it's like, here's a steak.
Nah, I don't think so.
But it ain't gonna be well. It's not gonna be the way you like it.
I kind of disagree because up to a point you kind of find out what's going on, and then
even when they that's another thing for me. It's like even when that happens, when you're when you get that reveal of what's actually happening, to me, there was not like a good execution to the point where I felt it. Like, oh, like, I don't know. I feel like it should have been more impactful. And to me, it really wasn't.
I mean, I kind of see what you're saying. But I don't know. I still feel like it worked. I definitely think it could have been more impactful, but I still think it worked though. At least for me anyway. Like, cause I really like the story in this movie actually a lot. I really like the concept and the story in this film.
I guess for me, cause like me, I am a very, I connect more of like an emotion or how a movie makes me feel. Right. Mm-hmm. And so because I wasn't connected to these characters whatsoever, like none, I guess that affected my way to connect with the actual story as well. Like I didn't feel anything when the revelation comes out because I didn't feel anything for these characters.
Okay, I kind of see what you're saying a little bit. I don't know. I just felt different. Like I've like, I'm looking at the story as a whole. Mm-hmm. So like I might not have had like a full connection, but I understood like how things would feel. I understood like how that played in the larger impact of the story. Cause this movie has a lot of commentary on like religion. Yeah. I would say almost like religious zealots is something that plays into this, and, taking religion too far. There's other commentary, of course, about, women having control over their bodies and things like that. There's actually a lot of messaging in this movie that I think is handled very well, where it's not like beating you over the head, but it's ingrained into the story, and it blends it and gives it to you in a package that you can receive without feeling like it's like beating you over the head with it, which I think is it's kind of difficult to do, but it was, to me at least, it was done very well in this film. I will say that I would have liked to have seen more towards the final act of the film. I did like it, but I think I would have liked to actually have this movie been a little bit longer, have a longer runtime, so that we could spend more time in some of these different moments to add into the build up. Into the payoff. Not to say that what was there was bad. I just think that it could have been great if we had a longer runtime and can spend more time with these characters and the things that were unfolding. But I did like what was there. And I did like the formula, and I like how everything played out. Some creepy moments, and then even to like some great gore moments. Now, what I will say with the gore though, that it's a mixed bag, because there are some gore moments where I was like, damn, this shit is brutal. This is nasty looking.
Yeah.
But then there was moments where they were using CGI
and it was not good.
And it was not done very good.
No.
Like I was like, oh man, like it almost like dampened the scene a little bit because it didn't look very good. And I was like, damn. But obviously you're like, it's still fucked up. But yeah.
Yeah.
But there honestly were some good effect scenes where I was like, damn, this shit is brutal. So just know that you will get some really good violent scenes in this. That will be it's a fun, to me, it's a fun watch. One thing that you said earlier, that this is what it made me think of, right? You mentioned how you felt like the film wasn't like scary to you, right? And in some ways you're kind of right. Don't get me wrong. There are creepy scenes in this.
There's creepy scenes, and there's a ton of jump scares. I think I counted, and there was like at least 10. Yeah,
there was actually quite a bit. But there are some.
I meant more scary. I guess more like imagery wise. You know what I'm saying? Like there weren't any like, it wasn't scary in that regard, I guess.
Yeah, I think that's what you're trying to say. The fear is more into like what's going on. It's more like it's more realism than supernatural. Yeah. In terms of the horror of what's occurring.
The jump scares aren't like I'll say a handful of them aren't like anything actually scary. You know what I'm saying? Just like something random.
But some of them are effective, I think. Yeah. Some of them are legit. You got the cheap ones. Some of them in this movie are legit.
That's what I meant.
But there are some moments that are genuinely creepy, that are filled with tension.
Yeah.
That are creepy. But what I was going to say was, what this reminds me of is when the Witch originally came out. So when the Witch was coming out, a lot of the trailers were like, this is the scariest movie in a long ass time. Like they were hyping this up to be scary as fuck, right? And what happened to me was I'm watching all this marketing talking about how fucking scary this movie is. And then I watched it and I was like, oh, this isn't scary. It's an incredible movie. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like it's more like a period piece drama with some horror sprinkled in. But I wasn't like, there was no fear for me. It was more like, it was almost like I was watching a play in something, you know, a story unfolding. And to me, that's what this film is like. And it's not like it's a period piece or anything, but it's more like you're watching this story unfold and what's occurring to this character. And it's not so much like a horror movie in the sense like you're going to go home and not be able to sleep at night, but more like it's just a good story. And you know, a good cinema story that's being told and that you're like experiencing. And it's not so much like, oh, this is the scariest movie of 2024 type shit. You know what I'm trying to say?
Right.
Yeah. So that's one thing you got to go into it like is understanding that this has more elements of like that like mystery thriller drama vibes to it than like a true horror film. Yeah. And I think when you have expectations like that going in, I think you might walk away feeling a little bit better. Yeah, I don't know. There's some good stuff in this film. Like I said, I liked how it played out. I like some of the creepy elements. I like some of the intrigue, the mystery.
I think you like something else as
well. No, see, why you gotta go there with it? I don't know why you gotta go there with it. Hey, look, this is a fresh take on the typical like nun type of horror movie. It's a fresh take. I don't know of any film that's exactly like this kind of story. So to me, it's a pretty original story and concept.
More recently anyway.
Yeah, I feel like it's actually done like pretty decent. If you like slow burns, if you like the mystery, you like the intrigue, you like a little bit of creepiness with some drama, if you like that 70s Suspiria vibe, you'll probably enjoy this movie.
I feel like it's not right to compare it to Suspiria, but it gives you like
it's got the flavor.
Yeah.
That's what I said, the vibe.
Yeah.
If you like that flavor of film, you can find enjoyment in this movie. Yeah. Just understand this isn't like the spooky movie in the sense you're gonna be scared.
It's not bad at all.
So going with that expectation, you'll probably be pretty good. I'm assuming that you don't want to give it no ratings.
No, we can give it a rating.
Okay, what's your rating gonna be?
Okay, so if you've never watched our videos, we do a scale of 1 to 5. Yep. I think it makes it easier. You know, I don't know. 1 to 10 seems like a whole lot of numbers.
It's a lot of room.
It is a lot of room. 1 being this movie's trash. Never, ever, ever should have seen the light of day. Yeah. 5 obviously is like super, super good.
Masterpiece.
And 3 to me is kind of like in between. Like it's good, it's okay. So I'm gonna have to give it a 2.5.
2.5? I'm gonna go probably around 3.
I figured you'd go for 3.
Yeah, it's probably around 3. Yeah, I could definitely see myself going a little bit above a 3, but it's definitely like right there in the middle. Some of the aspects of it kind of make me tempted to go like 3.25, potentially 3.5.
Well, the only thing that's saving it for me, obviously, is how it looked and Sydney Sweeney's performance.
Yep.
But yeah, everything else I could take or leave it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's our thoughts on Immaculate, y'all. You can see that we're kind of split on it. I'm very curious if you have seen the film, kind of where do you sit? And
I'm sure I'm in the minority. That's fine.
You think so?
I don't really care.
Okay. Well, I mean, last time we looked, the movie's at like 70-some%. So
I feel like
there's at least a quarter of people that felt the same way you did.
Okay.
But for our audience, if you've seen the film, let us know in the comments below. You sitting with me, you sitting with Christy on how you felt about Immaculate. I think this is going to be interesting. I think more people see this over the weekend. I'm very curious to see how the reviews of this are going to sway and kind of where they're going to end up settling at. Because I personally think it's fun when movies come out and it's kind of like a mixed bag where people really like it, some people don't like it.
Yeah,
I actually feel like that makes the movie even more interesting because it's not like this. It's not like this like bandwagon movie where. I'm not trying to say like if a movie's really good, everyone can appreciate it, but you know what I'm trying to say. It just makes the conversation more interesting because people have like different ways of looking at stuff now, and it just the conversation is more fun. So I'm curious to see what our audience is thinking about Immaculate. And if you made it to this point in the video, thank you so much for tuning in.
Thank you.
Yeah, make sure y'all like it. Make sure y'all comment, and again, make sure y'all subscribe because We got more reviews coming out. We're going to be watching Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, talking about that. And let us know if you want to see a spoiler discussion for Immaculate, because obviously you could tell there's a lot of things that we can't really talk about because there will be spoilers. We try to keep the spoilers as minimal to zero as possible. In these, obviously, it's difficult to talk about a film without giving some aspects of it. But if you want to see us talk about in details where we can really dive into, that'd make it a very interesting conversation. Being able to really dive into the things that we didn't like about this movie, especially when it pertains to the final act. Let us know down in the comments if you want to see us do a spoiler discussion. Like the video, give it a bunch of likes and comments. If you want to see a spoiler discussion, then we'll make the time to get that done. But that's it for this review, y'all, and we'll see you on the next one. Peace.